Young Sheldon season 6's database subplot reused a forgotten TBBT story. Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and give this video a like. Little attention was paid to Sheldon's profession or academic setbacks. Instead, young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory concentrated on his intellectual achievements and social ineptitude. In terms of obtaining funds, Sheldon's unsuccessful experiment in Season 11 of The Big Bang Theory was reflected in the grant database plotline of Young Sheldon. The fact that Sheldon's teenage self was still able to finish the grant database project in Young Sheldon, despite his increased capacity to distance himself from his collectibles, highlights a continuity issue between the two series. The grant database failure and the database scenario from Young Sheldon Season 6 introduced the unexpected plot point of Sheldon traveling to Germany in the finale. However, the entire subplot strangely echoed a previous episode of The Big Bang Theory. Sheldon's intellectual achievements and social incompetence were consistently highlighted in both Young Sheldon and The Big Bang Theory, with little attention paid to his professional or academic missteps. Outright failures were less common, even though The Big Bang Theory occasionally highlighted Sheldon's incapacity to continue his research to the point where he changed specializations. Nevertheless, the database plotline in Young Sheldon Season 6 was able to painstakingly revisit one of Sheldon's few Big Bang Theory failures. Even though it emerged unexpectedly and in a completely unscientific field, in Young Sheldon Season 6, Sheldon's primary plot point was the creation of a grant database. The database subplot got Sheldon where he needed to be in the Young Sheldon Season 6 finale, despite the database's massive failure owing to users not joining up and its development against all odds. It also marked the beginning of the journey to Germany, whose tales frequently resurfaced in Big Bang Theory. However, with another experiment that Sheldon envisioned, many of the processes in the grant database tale in Young Sheldon Season 6 were already employed in The Big Bang Theory Season 11. In a similar vein, Sheldon's idea for an experiment that could support his theory was sparked by a comparatively irrelevant conversation about university mixers being a waste of time and the monetary insufficiency. Episode 22 of Season 11 of The Big Bang Theory. In Young Sheldon Season 6, Sheldon also came up with the concept of a grant database by idly discussing how a database of comic books might enable collectors to locate their misplaced copies. Even the funding procedure, too, was comparable, with Sheldon attempting to sell his memorabilia or find private investors for both The Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon. Sheldon's attempts improved, even if his small black hole experiment in The Big Bang Theory failed due to his inability to obtain funding. Although the university had always been Sheldon's initial attempt, neither experiment received funding. Sheldon was unable to part with his priceless trains when he organized a yard sale to raise money for Germany in Young Sheldon Season 6, Episode 20. However, in TBBT Season 11, Episode 22, Sheldon was able to give Stuart a portion of his comic book collection in order to attempt to finance the tiny black hole project on his own, something that his younger self was unable to accomplish in Young Sheldon. Sheldon's experiment wasn't the one he came up with as an adult, despite his growing capacity to tolerate parting with his collectibles and even attempting other means of earning money, such as traveling to Vegas to gamble, by using statistics to guide his decisions. In fact, even though both were shown to be possible, the micro-black hole experiment was simply too costly. Even though Sheldon was more adept at coming up with ideas for funding in Season 11 of The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon was still a teenager when he finished the grant database project in Season 6 of Young Sheldon. Both initiatives were essentially failures. Young Sheldon's grant database failed to attract users, which were required for the business that provided funding for Sheldon and Dr. Sturgis' research to profit from it, while TBBT's micro-black hole experiment never saw the light of day. Despite his youth, Sheldon's plan was sound, and Dr. Sturgis' involvement in its development assured private investors that it was a genuine project. Rather, Sheldon's inability to obtain funding in TBBT Season 11 was primarily due to the lack of the same assurance, which would have been provided by the significant investment that Sheldon was unable to obtain in any way. The prequel series didn't address teenage Sheldon's scientific failure, which makes sense given that Young Sheldon's database narrative developed so many years after The Big Bang Theory's brief micro-black hole episode. Nevertheless, the two nearly identical tales highlight Young Sheldon's continuity issue. Since there isn't much time left between Season 6 and George's passing, some of the stories that The Big Bang Theory told about Sheldon's early years should have already occurred, but the majority haven't been depicted in Young Sheldon. The Big Bang Theory Season 10, Episode 5, revealed the tragic cause for Sheldon's 3 knocks. It made it clear that Sheldon's failure to confront his father about